Okay, let's get that pivot table set up. If you navigate to the box plots PT sheet, you can see an example of what the finished pivot table product will look like. You can see that I currently, up here at the top, have it filtered to just a single product. This is basically the magic that you can do with the pivot table, just being able to very quickly, change it to a completely different product and have everything formatted just the way you need to plug it into the next sheet. For our purposes today, we're going to be working with product 018. And I have a quantity filter here as well. That simply just ensures that it filters the data to only the transactions that have a positive quantity. I don't want any negative quantities, i.e. returns. I want to know what the product is sold at, not what it was returned for. And I'm also not interested in any transactions that have a quantity of 0. Maybe you have some interesting accounting practice that's happening at your company for products that have a quantity of 0. In my experience, I usually exclude those unless there's a reason I need to include them. You can see here that in the pivot table, all of our data is set up the way we need it. We have all of the regions listed. We have a unique list of what the pocket prices that exist for this product in that region are. And then finally, we have a listing of exactly how much pocket revenue is being captured at that point. Pocket revenue simply being your pocket price times your quantity. So this pocket revenue figure here is what we'll use to actually weight each of these observations so that we can actually calculate our percentiles based on revenue. Because we don't want percentiles based on observations, records, transactions. We want it all based on pocket revenue for our purposes. So this is what the finished pivot table looks like. If you hop over to your 2019 data set, you can actually begin creating the pivot table. So just go to the 2019 data set. I currently have a filter on here, so I'm just going to remove the filter just because when I select the entire data set, I want to make sure I get all of the rows, all of the records, and making sure that nothing is hidden is a perfect way to make sure that you capture it all. Okay, go down here. You can see that I'm all the way down to the bottom row. I'm all the way over to the far right column. So just insert pivot table. I usually always throw my pivot tables onto new worksheets just to keep them separate. So new worksheet. Just box plots, pivot table demo here. Oh, I may have another sheet with that name apparently. Well, that's okay. We'll work with that. Okay, so let's just add in the filters. So we want to be able to filter by what product it is. We also want to be able to filter by that quantity. There we are, the quantity filter. So we'll throw those two things on there, and then we can start to create it. Now, whatever your market variable is that's going to appear along the horizontal axis of your box plot, your discrete variable, you want that to be the very first thing that you pop into the rows, that you just drop right in there. So that's going to be region for our example. So I'll just take region here, move it into the rows section, and you can see it's populated there in the pivot table. The next thing I want is I want to grab the pocket price per quantity and just drop that right below the regions so that it just cascades out like that. And then finally, we want the pocket revenue, and you can put that in the values section. Okay, this is starting to look right. We do have some formatting that we need to grab here. So, just to make it easy, maybe go over to the box plots pivot table, just copy those instructions for yourself, paste it up at the top to make sure that you grab everything that you need to. All right, and so first of all, per the instructions here, set the pivot table design. You want to set your report layout to tabular. So just set your layout report to tabular, and you can see that instead of everything with the region and pocket price all being here in the same column, it's popped out into two separate columns now. All right, the next thing we want to do is remove these subtotals and totals because we don't need them for our purposes. So just go under Design, select the pivot table, go under Design, under Subtotals, do not show subtotals, under Grand Totals, off for rows and columns. Just turn it off entirely. And then the final thing you want to do is repeat your row labels. So under Report Layout, just go here, repeat all item labels, and that will just fill out here this region for every single record like that. And you need that because in the next step, a few steps down the line, you'll need every single row to be identified with the region because the Excel lookup formula we're going to use requires that. Okay, so we are all set here with the format, and let's just correct our quantities, or our filters here. So first of all, we're doing product 018. Second of all, you want to make sure you're on the positive quantities only. And just like that, our pivot table is all set up. If you need to flip to another product, for another pivot table, it's as simple as changing the filter. Well, okay, that is not a very interesting product. How about something more like this? Well, okay, still not a lot of variation there. Anyway, that's why we went with product 18, because there's plenty of rows, a lot of data in each of the regions. So we're all set up with our pivot table, so let's actually pull out the data and begin transforming it.